Hello friends, it's Christine from Christine's Stamping Spot. Thanks for joining me today for our Mystery Monday video. I hope you all had a great Easter. I did take last Monday off just because it was the Easter long weekend and wanted to have some family time. So I'm back today and we are starting a brand new month of Mystery Monday videos for April. So today we're going to take a look at this artistically inked stamp set and dies. This is actually a set that is retiring this year, which I'm very sad about because I really love this set and I really love the dies because they too are retiring. It has been around for a couple of years and we had some stunning designer paper that went with this at the time. But anyways, I thought we would take kind of a last peek in April at some of these favorites that we are saying goodbye to. So if you're looking for this stamp set, it is on page 114 of the annual catalog. It's right here. It used to come as a bundle with the dies, but in this current catalog, you have to purchase each of them separately. And these are the dies right here. So this one is the one we are going to be working with today, this beautiful one. Very detailed, lots of little nooks and crannies in there, and has some gorgeous leaf images. So I can see myself still using this way into the future. I really love this stamp set and dies. Okay, so we're going to do kind of a technique today that I discovered from a demonstrator from Melbourne, Australia, Nancy Hotker from Nancy's Nifty Notes. You might want to check her out. It's kind of, she called it a stenciling technique, so that's what I'm going to call it. And this is the project we are going to make. So we are going to use this beautiful die here. And I'm going to show you how we did that background and got it to fit right behind the die. Okay, so let's get started. So we are going to start with our stencil. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we did this. So this is a piece of cardstock, just basic white, that is cut at 7.5 by 5. And I think it's 7.5 by 5. Let me just double check. 7.5 by 5, yes. And I'm just going to fold that in half. And what I did was I took the die, that big floral die. Let me just grab it here. And I cut it out of the one side of this. Let me just see if I can line this up here. Probably not very easily. Which way? This way. Okay, whichever way it fits the best for you. Okay, so I did it a teeny bit to the bottom, towards the bottom, because I want to stamp a greeting up here at the top like I did on my sample. So on this stencil piece, you're going to cut out this die, and once you do, it is going to leave this large opening where that die was, and you can use that die either on this card or on another project, and I'll explain that in just a minute. So I have cut this. When it's folded, it will be 3 3/4, which is the size I want for this layer here. Okay, for this top layer, it's 5 by 3 3/4. So this will be our stencil base. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of blending with our blending brushes using colors. So we're going to leave this closed like this, and you can just hang on to it. You don't need to stick it down unless you want to. So you're going to decide. You can use the the die cut as a guide as to where are the flowers, where are the leaves. So you can pick whatever colors you like. Anything goes with this. So what I chose to do was Daffodil Delight and Melon Mambo. Okay, so I'm just going to bring out my Daffodil Delight. We're going to start with that. And I'm just going to ink up my blending brush. Let me just move this up a little bit. And I'm going to hold this down. Now I know there's going to be a flower here. So I'm just going to hold this down and I'm just going to start sponging here. Okay, where I think that flower is. And if the colors blend together a bit, I'm okay with that. It just kind of adds to the interest of the card. So I'm just going to kind of go down and go where I think that floral image is, and even up to the leaves, where I think the leaves might kind of start. Okay. All right. So there's my daffodil. I can always go in and darken it up if I like. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in Melon Mambo for the larger flower. Oh. Okay, still have some of these old pads, if you can believe it, but they still work great. Okay, so I'm going to sponge the Melon Mambo on this side right here. Okay, and I'm going to go over the yellow a little bit, and that's okay. I'm not worried about that. And you can go as light or as dark as you like. Okay. Then I'm going to switch to some greens for the greenery. So I'm going to do 2 different shades of green for my leaves. And you don't have to, you can just choose one, whatever you want. I'm going to start with garden green. And I am going to do maybe these larger ones here, up here, with a little bit of green, garden green. And maybe I'll do this one down here. Okay, right there. And then I am going to swap to shaded spruce. Now you could use a granny apple green or something like that if you wanted a little bit of a brighter green. That would be nice. But I'm going to go with the shaded spruce over here on these little guys. Excuse me. Whoops. Hopefully this didn't wreck too much, but we shall see. Okay, and I think I have a little one over here to do still. So just give it a quick glance that you've got all of the areas inked up like you like. And like, oh my gosh, frog in my throat. Like I said, if you wanted to go over some of them, you can. So I'm going to go over this part here where I got a little bit extra green. I'll go over it with my daffodil again. So over here. And I'm not too concerned. Like I say, it does add a little bit extra to your card to have a few little different colors peeking out. Okay, so let's do that. Let's stick with that. All right. So to see what you've done, you can open your stencil and that will be your base. Is that not so cool? So I did have a little bit of extra green around here, which I would try to be a little more careful with next time. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring out our paper trimmer. Excuse me. So I already have the width and the height by the way I cut this. So I just have to cut off this stencil piece, which we are not going to need. Okay, so we're just going to slice that off, throw it out because we don't need it. And this is going to go on top of our card. So let me just see. I should try to find my little chamois here just to clean off my surface. I apologize if I'm shaking the camera. I just want to clean that ink off there. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my greeting up here. So on this one, I did Melon Mambo, but this one I think I'm going to have a different color of matte. So I am going to stamp my greeting in shaded spruce, I think. And I'm just going to use the hello from the stamp set. It's got best wishes, hello, thanks, and happy birthday. So let's do hello. Excuse my head here. Okay. And because we use some of that shaded spruce in the blending there, that will go nicely. So now what we're going to do is, remember how I said we cut out this center with that die? Well, I cut out a separate one on an adhesive sheet. Now, if you, when you cut this out initially, it will come out without an adhesive sheet, of course. And you can just tack that down loosely on top of here if you want. I want mine to be a little more firm or stick right on top. So that's why I put an adhesive sheet on a separate piece of cardstock and cut it out. Now, because this is so delicate, you might want to run it through your die cutting machine back and forth a few times, just so you get all these little nooks and crannies out of here. Okay, so now we're going to try to take off this sheet and peel off and poke out any little pieces that might not have come out. I did poke a few extras earlier. So you're just going to take your pick tool and try to peel off any little extra pieces that don't belong there. And it is a little bit sticky, so hopefully these will come out without too much fuss. Yeah, it just depends how OCD you are. I like to try to make sure I get most of them out. And it's these tiny little ones that sometimes need a little bit of extra urging to get out. And they sometimes don't cut quite as well. But if you run it through a few times, you should be able to get those little pieces out. And quite often, a lot of them, if they are on an adhesive sheet, as you pull the adhesive sheet off, a lot of them come off on the sheets. So that helps too. So I think that is not too bad, other than I have this all over my fingers now, but that's okay. Yeah, so I think I have most of them there. Okay, so then I am going to put this right on top of the colors that I stenciled. So the adhesive sheets are a little bit forgiving if you don't get the initial placement exact, but you're just going to kind of place it around some of the bigger edges, and the rest should, for the most part, fall into place. So let me just get this going. Once you get it going, it kind of, like I said, falls into place. Okay, hang on. I have to press this down before I go too much further. Okay, and then you can just kind of give it a nudge to cover up those extra little inked spots. And this might not be 100%. Boy, my sample was so much easier. Having a little bit of issues getting this one on, but truly it is an easy way to get this lined up with the adhesive sheet. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. I'll just move this over, and there you go. So you're just going to give it a little press. Now I have, if you're not 100% on top, that's okay. But just give that a little press, and it should adhere right on to that white layer, like so. Okay, so I did miss one in here, but it's not a really big to-do. Okay, so just go over it with your finger. I think because of the ink, it may take a little bit more of a press to get this to stick, but it does stick. And see how it's pretty much lined up on top of the ink that we sponged, and that's how those colors pop through. So we have a little bit of variegation here with the white, or with the daffodil and the green, and this pink here. So you could use a sponge dauber too, or the smaller blending brushes. That might actually help with the really detailed little spots here, something a little bit smaller. Okay, so we are going to switch up the matte. So our base will be basic white. So let's just get our base folded 8.5 by 5.5, and I will post these measurements on the Facebook post. And then this time we're going to go with shaded spruce. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on top of our base. Like so. Make sure it's fairly straight. Like so. And then we can attach this on top, and it will give it a little bit of a different look right there, just by having a different mat. Okay, so lastly, of course, we're going to add a little bit of bling. So I pulled out the Glossy Dots assortment. So for this one, I used these Melon Mambo little ones. This one I think is actually Pool Party, but I think I'm going to use it anyway. Or I could use the Daffodil, but let's try the Pool Party because it's a little bit more to the green, and it might pick up some of the green in here. And I don't think people would really know it's Pool Party unless you told them. So, all right, so there you go. 2 different color variations. Which one do you like best? Let me know in the comments. I hope you'll give this a try. You could do this with any sort of detailed die as the background stencil. I think that would be fun. And I think it just gives it a whole new look to the card as well. So I think that is really, really cool. So I hope you enjoyed that project, and we will see you again next week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.